I see it. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I was trying to get my YouTube working. Um, right. So this is our very first uh, episode of Shore Leave Book Club, and so you're going to get to see it warts and all as we try and figure out what the hell we're doing. But we're really excited about it, and we're happy to be sharing it. This is the very first series that Curse Dragon Ship has that Curse Dragon Ship published, which we thought was appropriate. We thought that it was appropriate for our very first book club, and it is my series, Misplaced Mercenaries. Um, for those of you who saw the, oh no, I'm getting the. Sorry about that, everybody. We're just we are quite naturally having a little bit of technical difficulties. Um, so, Misplaced Mercenaries, in case you missed the. Okay, you guys can probably hear Kelly's voice, but she's telling me to just. Okay. All right, Kelly's logging off. Maybe I am too. We're going to find out, but we'll be right back. Yeah.
Ha! Hello, everyone. You can now see me and hear me. You know, this is my fault because I said I'm not going to edit this. And now it did this on purpose. So I have to edit it.
Okay.
And I'm very upset about it. That's okay. I was nervous and now I'm not nervous. Now I'm just angry. So this is going to be fun. I shall invoke my inner Sarah. And I will just get through this thing. What do you think, Kevin?
Well, right before we got started, when I was getting set up in here, I asked my wife Lena to reassure me that I would not come out of this looking like an ass, and she did her best, but she might have been lying to me.
No, no, you're not in charge of tech. This is all us over here. Seriously, I use this every single day. Have not had a problem. So, you know, no, I'm going to go back on the intro. Hold on, because I'm doing it again. Because after I said I wasn't going to edit it, now I need to edit it. So I will edit it.
Okay,
I don't mind little
I feel
things.
better about
this
that.
was crazy. So first of all, I'm so glad everyone's here, but we're going to do our intro again. So pretend you can't see us, you know, like you couldn't see me earlier. Okay, here we go. We're going to go back to the theme. Ready? So everyone, here you go. Cute little theme. Here we go. Yay! Welcome everyone to our very first episode of the Shore Leave Book Club. I'm Kelly Lynn Colby, editorial director at Cursed Dragon Ship Publishing. I'm also a freelance editor, a writer, and a reader.
And I'm Kevin Pettway. I'm just a writer and kind of an asshole.
I mean, only kind of, which so am I. So this is why we get along so well. Welcome everyone. Thank you for taking a chance and grabbing a book and joining us for this fun night. Please also, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe so you find out all the fun, exciting things we do when we have no technical difficulties whatsoever. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, you got to come see us live. So we have been, Cursed Dragon Ship Publishing has been in business for 5 years now. It was 5 years in July. Can you believe that, Kevin?
No. I mean, it on the one hand, it seems like it was yesterday, and on the other hand, it seems like it was at least 5 times that.
Right? Exactly. So our very first series that we published, the very first author we published was Kevin Pettway with Misplaced Mercenaries, first book, Good Running Away. So this is why we chose this book and this series as our first one that we're going to tackle. So first of all, thank you for willing to be here and go on this journey with me, Kevin.
Obviously, I am a whore for attention, so it wasn't a hard sell.
Well, for this series, as we introduced in our intro video, we are going to specialize in indie series, and we will have the author on for discussion. It just happens to be for our first 5 episodes, the author is also a co-host. So how do you feel about dueling your duty, Kevin?
Yeah, well, right at the moment, I'm really excited about it, and I figure right about the time I get, feel like I am getting my feet underneath me and know what the hell I'm doing, then it's going to be time for us to have another author on, and then I'm going to be all confused and not knowing what the hell I'm doing again. So, but like I said in our little intro thing that we did last month. What you're pretty experienced at doing these, and I am a complete newbie. I've never been in a book club before, so I'm hoping that that's kind of giving people who are not really familiar with the format sort of an in. So they'll be learning it as I do. That's the idea anyway.
Yes, this is our first episode, so we're going to play with the format because this is really about us, right? By us, I don't mean Kevin and I, though, it is about us, right, Kevin? I mean, it is. But not just us,
Everything.
Right? It's about you guys, right? The readers, everything, what you read in your experience. So we're going to play this by ear, and you're going to tell us if you're having fun. I will prep you, though, that Kevin is going to ask us for our favorite Keen quote. So if you happen to have one available, we will ask for that later. And also, just for anyone knows, if you just came to tune in for a good time, because we are pretty fun, that this book is definitely not for children. So there will be some language in this discussion. It's going to be really hard to do a King quote without using language. And I don't mean just the English language. So just this is your warning that this book is not for children. So
as my wife is fond of saying, we all speak French here.
There you go.
So Charles, Uncle Daddy,
Yes.
has already asked a quick question, and I'm just gonna knock that out real fast, and we can get right back to it. Okay. Are we saying that the main character Keen is based on me? And the truth is, both Keen and Sarah are sort of based on me. Keen is the person that I used to be, and Sarah is the person that I would like to be. So if that tells you what kind of kid I was growing up, there you go.
Very cool. I love that. That's a great answer. Actually, you took my question, Charles. You're good. Which is good. That's what we want you to do. I'm glad. Yeah, Charles is one of the first one that signed up to do this. Charles and I are reading twins. Like we
Oh,
read the same stuff growing up, and so he's like, "Oh, you need to read this." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love that." And I'm like, "You have to read this." He's like, "Oh yeah, this is great." So we're kind of reading twins. So it's really fun. And I do want to say hi to the chat real quick. We couldn't do this without you, and I will be writing down all your names. We are doing a free giveaway for showing up, for your support, because you came to support us. At the end, I will choose a winner, and I will ship you, first of all, these amazing trading cards. These are the characters in Misplaced Mercenaries and the extended universe, Misplaced Adventures. So this is Sarah, as we just talked about, and Keen. And also, all of these are done by artists. This is not AI. There's actually 4 different artist work in these on these cards, and the back of them, because they're real trading cards, have all these really fun statistics. So we will be giving away a full set of these. We'll also be giving away the Last Night at the Jolly Chicken, which is an anthology that comes after Misplaced Adventures. Nope. Thank you. Misplaced Mercenaries. It comes after that. There's also a card. It's a little sticker, so you can put it in the book if you want, that has all of the authors from Cursed Dragon Ship signed. And I'm going to Dragon Con next week. So you see there's also a story in here by Kevin J. Anderson and Jody Lynn Nye. I'll get them to sign it too. So that will be the giveaway. So thank you for coming. Tell your friends to come join in the fun as we talk about this. And we'll be giving that away at the end.
Hey, you know, I don't even have one of those.
So I should take a bunch of them to have Jody and Kevin sign them, huh?
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Maybe I buy Jody lunch, and Kevin will do it for a beer, I guarantee you. All right. Excuse me, swallowed the wrong way. I'm such a pro. So first of all, thank you to Dork Stevens in the house. Good to see you. The production value, right? I do want to give credit where credit is due. All of these little cool things you see in the background, that is all Pettway. So he put that amazing stuff together. And I look exactly like that. I mean, that's just a total portrait. He just took, my wings. I just have to hide them in public. It's embarrassing. It's just, I also think it's funny how you have me, Kevin, comfortably sitting against a stump, and you are like leaning very awkwardly against a rock, just is that a symbol for our relationship? Is that what you're telling me now?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it. I thought I slid that right under, under the it was less noticeable than that, but
I love it. And Charles, who we've already said hello to, likes the cute, quirky music. And Jen's here. Hi, Jen. Jen is one of the authors in this anthology. So she also writes in this universe and world, which we will get to know even more as the series goes on. Let's see. Charles grabs phone to hold on. Hold on, man. It's going to be fun. See, I made it. 2 dorks. I need a bookshelf so I can be like all the cool kids with books in their backgrounds. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. That's the way this works. If you're on BookTube, you got to have books back there.
Yeah. Not only that, but I'm not actually at my normal computer right now. My normal computer is about 6 feet that way, and I took the laptop and moved it closer to the bookshelf so it would be my entire background, and you wouldn't, because otherwise it looks much smaller. And that just wouldn't do. So
perspective. How much experience do you have at making small things look big, Kevin? Should I ask Lena? Wait, where's Lena?
Long years of that.
It's all about mirrors. Let's see. So excellent. We have Lena is on. Speaking of Lena, hello. Good to see you. And Alicia made it. Yay, Alicia. Alicia's one of our writing buddies, Kevin, that comes in the morning. She is writing her first novel. So someday she'll be
really. That's wonderful.
Let's see. So yay. And Lena, Alicia, they are all saying hi to everyone. And Kiana's on. Yay, Kiana. Good to see you. Welcome. Let's see. Woot, we good? Did I miss anyone? No, that is everyone right now. Yay! And also remember, if you are here lurking, welcome. We're so glad you're here. You obviously do not have to chat if you don't want to, but you will not be entered into the contest if you don't. So make sure you say something in the chat so I know you're here so I can enter you in the contest. All right, excellent. So that is all of the grunt work involved. And just as Charles has done and Alicia has done, so we can hit her question too. That when you have a question, please put it in the chat and Kevin will gleefully answer it for you. And I will judge him over here quietly.
Right. I'm used to that.
Yeah, that's
so Alicia asks, which character was my favorite to write? And so as I was rereading the book, I was realizing that there are aspects to each of the characters that are very different, that are a lot of fun to write, and they hit me different ways. And so, you know, there are some ways that I just really love writing Keen, that none of the other characters does it for me in that way. Same thing with Sarah, you know, and several of the others. But my absolute favorite in this book was Eli.
I do love Eli.
Eli had a very unique point of view for me, because he was utterly devoted to a man who was utterly devoted to the company, the mercenary company that Eli despised and wanted to destroy. And so, you know, that I really loved being able to play with that, and they had so much history together, and you know, it was a very unique relationship between those two guys, between Eli and Hardin, and I loved writing that. That was a lot of fun.
I did like that. It was almost like while Charles, oh, I should also mention there will be spoilers in this, right? This is book club, so we're allowed to talk about everything. So there will be spoilers. I love the relationship with, because Hardin is trying to be a father figure to Sarah, right? And ends up being one to Keen too, whether he knows it or not. Just, you know, all father figures aren't great, right? And so
as horrible a father figure as he is to Sarah, he's a worse one to Keen.
Exactly. But Eli is kind of a father figure to Hardin. Yeah. I mean, if anything, Eli has that, if there's any unconditional love in here, besides between Keen and Sarah, it's platonic, right? We're all platonic. Did I say plutonic? Wait till you get to book 3. No, okay. So the platonic, right? But love between those two for sure. But you also have it between Hardin and Eli. So did you like design that on purpose? Like you needed Hardin, though his name's Hardin, he needed somewhere soft to fall, even though he doesn't think he does?
Well, kind of. It does. Eli's affection and devotion, really, it's more devotion to Hardin, does sort of humanize Hardin a bit, except for the way that Hardin deals with it, because Hardin, he values Eli, and I guess you could say that he respects him to the extent that he respects anybody, but that's not a lot. And Hardin is very much a my way or the highway kind of guy. And, you know, so when Eli is trying to understand Hardin, and as Eli puts it, he says, you know, I don't need to understand everything you think, or you know, why you're doing things, but if I could understand why it's important, then maybe I could stop thinking about it and just get on with the doing of it. And Hardin basically tells him to fuck off. It's none of your business, you know, for a while. But then, you know, I guess all of us have known people like that, that, you know, they consider themselves to be more important than you, to the point where They just don't feel like they need to engage with you as a normal person would, as a human being. And even that kind of person can love. It's just that love doesn't look the same to them. And that's the problem with Hardin. He does love. It just doesn't translate.
I was like, does he? I don't know. Of all the characters. Also, we published this, and speaking of not love, in 2020. I'm wondering, is there like any kind of model that you modeled King Rance after? Because I totally forgot until I was reading it who it really reminded me of. You don't have to say a name. Just tell me. Is it modeled after who it seems like it's modeled after?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
And that was a result of my very first, no, not my very first editor. So you were actually the third editor on that book.
Ooh. I mean, the best one, obviously.
Clearly, because you were the one I stuck with. But the second editor was Joshua Esso, and he made that note for that character. He said you should push it in this direction. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like fun. And so I did. And nobody ever asks me about that. So that's
it just
kind
seems so obvious to me. If you know in the chat, you know. So but I guess what I'm trying to say is you did a good job, because I immediately recognized him. And it's so funny. It has been so long since I read this. It was like reading it fresh. It was really cool. Yay, Christina made it. Hi, Christina. I will say, though, as your editor, this is the first book I published. Are you ready? I let you get away with so many ellipses. I just want you to know I'm going to go back and change that. I'm just warning you right now. It was driving me crazy.
Okay, so funny thing about that is that, you know, over the years, I feel like we have both learned, a few things. And as I was rereading it, I was like, I wonder if she'd let me go back and change that.
Oh, I'm changing. I was like, oh no, that one. Like I read it on my Kindle.
The ellipses, of course, don't bother me. But there were plenty of other things that I was like, I just wouldn't write that the same way today.
Yeah, well, that we're not going to do, because that's healthy, right? It's okay. It's healthy to grow as a writer, which is fun. That's another reason why I wanted to read a whole series, because we also have a lot of writers who are fans, and it really shows you how authors learn how to do this as they go along. Like I have read, all the books in this series by you. I've read, just watching you grow as a writer. It's a thing of beauty.
It's been fun. It really has. It's one of those things. Well, okay, so for the audience, when you find an editor that you really connect with and that you trust, it's like striking gold, and you are able to relax your defenses after a few days. When you get your draft back and you read it.
When you first get it, yeah.
You're like, oh well, fuck her, and then you come back and the next day and everything's fine. But what I'm trying to say is that you can learn so much, and you take what you learn and you pour it all into the next book, and you become better, and it's a fantastic experience, and you see yourself growing and becoming better, and that's just wonderful. If anybody sees Kelly, let her know.
Wait, don't stop. Keep praising me. Hold on. Okay, no. No, I don't want to be the center of attention. Which is odd considering how much I'm on this screen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Bear loves ellipses.
That's what I was going to say. Jen says she likes ellipses. Sorry, Jen.
No,
that's why you need editors.
Loves ellipses.
Mm-hmm. It's all right. That's what we're here for. Delete. It's really easy. Problem solved. I will fix that. But yeah, so we'll talk about that. I'll make sure to get that done as well. We also want to know, because this is book club, so this isn't just interview the author. So what I want to know from you amazing readers out there, who was your favorite character and why? So let us know, who did you really gel with, or who did you couldn't stand at all but had a great old time with that? So while you're answering that, I'm going to answer. Mine might be a weird answer though, because my favorite character, knowing what happens later in the series, I didn't remember where he started, was Fault. I remember Fault later in the series. So I'm not spoiling that because y'all haven't read it yet, right? And so I know where he goes. So seeing him in this book, I was just tickled pink, that just to remember what all happens and what happens with his character. It's so hard to say without saying. Let's just
You
say
know,
this is not the only book Fault is in.
you know what I had forgotten about him
Hmm.
was that he saved Keen and Sarah's life.
Yes.
I didn't remember that at all. And I saw that and I went, and
It's like you planned it the whole time.
yeah. Well, that was the weird thing, is like I told you, we talked about it a few weeks ago. I had forgotten just how many threads that extend all the way through the series start here. So much was foreshadowed in this book that I just completely forgot about.
Not only for this, even for your other series. So I'll talk about that in a minute.
Mm.
Like I wrote it down because I'd be like, no, you had this figured out from the beginning. So I'm going to see if you did or if you just use that, because this is brilliant. Because you also, I know that you spent forever building this world. So you might have all had planned this from the beginning, but we'll talk about this in a minute. Because I was like, no, like I wrote it down like with an actual pen. That's how much it registered for me. I wanna see. Let's see, Christina was still ellipses. I love those too. Use them all the time. Yes. Thanks, Christina. Let me hold on. I'm going to delete this comment.
See?
No, the in
Let's
text
just
is
have
where
a vote. Kelly on one side, everybody else on the other. Do we want ellipses in our books? I think we do. I think ellipses carry the popular vote.
no. Here's the thing. In text, Christina, in text, this is where I say this is not a democracy. And Christina, in text, that is, you should use ellipses, right? Because you are only using words to try to convey, you're just using your dialogue to convey everything that you're trying to say. But in books, it's not just dialogue, right? You have the character, what the character's doing, how the other characters are reacting to them, the setting, what's happening in that action, other stuff going on. You don't need the ellipses to put that in there, no matter what y'all say.
Which only goes to prove
Alicia says, makes a mental note to add them to my story. Don't you dare.
that
This is
even
not what we're supposed to be getting out of book club.
be wrong. So Jen Bear says that she likes Megan the best because she was a good and tolerant wife. For not being on the page as much as Sarah, she had a lot of presence. And I agree with that. And I really like Megan's arc. And Kelly helped me with that. I had the arc much more compressed, and Kelly made me space it out more. And so I added several scenes in there to sort of work into where we end up with Megan. But one of the things that I forgot about Megan, and when I read it, I was like, oh, okay, that I did a better job on that than I thought, was that she actually does read like a teenager. She reads like a very intelligent, responsible teenager, but she still reads like a teenager. Mm-hmm. And I was really happy about that, because it gave her a very unique point of view, a very unique voice that nobody else matched.
Yeah, Megan's great. So I'm laughing at the chat. You're fine.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, no, Megan, I agree. Megan's great. And Megan goes through, like you said, as we see her go along, it's pretty impressive. But if anything, she's the only responsible one in the whole book. I mean, you could argue that Sarah is, except Sarah doesn't have any direction yet, right? Which is why I love how it ended, right? Finally, at the end of the book, Sarah finds direction. Where Megan always knew what she was born to do. She had to take care of her people more than her father ever did, right? So she always had that purpose, which is why she was a more mature teenager,
I think
right?
Rosette also was
Oh,
a really good and very responsible character. She helped as much as she could,
that's a
uh,
good point.
and I really liked her as a character.
Hmm. Hmm. All right, excellent. So we've got favorite characters in. Um, let's see. Alicia says she just enjoyed reading the adventures of Keen and Sarah, especially the whole Prince cover. Yeah, I love the Prince cover. That's the funniest thing, right? You get kids off the street and make them act like royalty. So, like you said, Roselle, they could have done that without her. Not that anyone was paying that much attention to them. That was another thing. I think if they paid too close of attention, they wouldn't have noticed. Um, let's see, what do we have? Kelly, you're so fun to mess with. Love you. Thanks, Christina. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Alicia says she seemed to know what she wanted, and the arranged marriage wasn't her style. Yeah, she didn't like the arranged marriage, but she accepted it. That was her duty, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I also like that you didn't like throw them in bed right away. So it was like, all right, we're married now.
Yeah, you never actually see them in bed together until book 2.
Yeah. So I really like that too. And Jen said, yeah, she came across as adult to me, but with a youthful spirit. Yeah, exactly. More mature. Kind of like when you have like an older child and they have like 7 siblings, right? And you're like, wait, you're only how old? Right? That kind of thing. So that same kind of thing, right? She had all that responsibility on her
It
shoulders.
was a lot of storming out of the room, though. No.
I mean, there was some of that. I also love how where Keen couldn't even talk to her and Sarah were like bonding. I love that. I love that you did that. Um, and speaking of which, also you have so many fun magical creatures in this. And that gets even better as the series goes on. I think it's Big Damn Magic. We really get it, right? Isn't it Big Damn Magic?
Yeah, well, there was you get to see some of them
Hmm.
briefly as they're running through the menagerie, and there are things around them. But yeah, throughout the series, there's more of an exploration with that, which again was my editor's suggestion, was that I needed more magical creatures. Um, I
She
was
might
I
like them.
was Yeah, possibly. I originally was thinking that it was going to be a very it was just sort of a low magic world, and I wasn't really thinking along those lines. Even like the magic and the spells and things like that from the sorcerers was going to have the appearance of very natural phenomenon. Um, but then you encouraged me to take another look at that, and then I just really started having fun with it. I love the yellow bells. They
Me
are such
too.
a pain in the ass, and
Yeah, and as we're talking about it in chat, if you just want to put who your favorite magical creature is, or what you would like to see more of, that would be cool. All right, go ahead. So yellow bells.
yeah, I mean, just the idea that they um, you they're looking at them. They've got Sarah has one of their corpses in her hand, and she's like, "Is this a bird or is it a bug?" And she can't make up her mind. And they
Mhm.
swarm and they eat everything and they shit everywhere and they bite Keen and
Which is the funniest part. They don't eat meat. Well, but Keen asked for it.
yeah, those are great. I really loved, and right around in that same part of the book, there's the woods wife,
Hmm.
which is just a blink and you'll miss it in the book. But there was a short story that I wrote that I don't think we ever did anything with it, but it was like a holiday short story, and it was Megan as a little girl, like as a, you know, she's like 4.
Mhm.
And so you get to see her mother. You know, it's like right before the king locks her up. And Megan has a woodswife child as a childhood friend. Um,
How
and
funny.
so that was, I really enjoyed that too. That was really cool. Yeah, up in the forest, up in the top of the castle.
Mhm.
Um,
That's
anyway,
fun.
yeah, it was cool. I might dust that off and go back, take another crack at it.
Yeah, because that's what I thought also when I was reading it. I was like, I want more of how, why has this one not come up again? Because I forgot until I read the scene, right? And then I was like, wait, how come we've not seen this? I want more. I mean, I like my magical creatures. I know I'm not the only one. So, and Jen said adults storm out too. And Christina says storming out saves us from prison. Just saying.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you just got to go for a walk.
Major Talon's desperation was fun to watch, fun to write.
That's
and
another
Talon
thing.
comes back later on too. I think he's in book 4 or 5, maybe both. I don't know.
At least 4. Now I can't remember if it's 5 too. But yeah, but also this was cool for me. So I know for most of you, this was your first time reading A Good Running Away, right? That's the point.
No, I
The
had read it.
to have you've never read it before? This was your first time?
I had. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you'd read it. Oh, cool. That's because you almost resemble the guy on the back, except I have the old picture. So only kind of. The um the world. So you have, all the different countries and all the different, and talking about all of them and how the people look different and different things about the people. Now that you have this extended universe, now that, as in other authors writing in it, now that you have all of these, it flowed for me. Like I knew what things were. I knew what they meant. You know what I mean? Like I knew when he was talking about terrain, because terrain becomes extremely important as this series goes on, that, all this stuff really resonated more with me. And I think that's kind of some of the magic about rereading, where so many of us are just so anxious to just go and just devour more books, which I 100% am one of them, and I'm never going to stop. However, there's something magical about rereading and then remembering this thing you hadn't seen before. And so like you said, when there was some stuff like stuck in there that you hadn't seen before. So if anyone in the chat is a rereader, if you can tell us that there's something you noticed that you didn't remember before or that meant something else, let us know. The one I want to talk about, it actually comes to effect. This is not a spoiler for that series in with Masika and Rain and Heron. And that is in Kevin's Wrong Way series. And in that one, it said, let's see. I wrote down a few notes. The one where you talked about Oldham. Notice Oldham gets a lot of cursing, right? And a lot of stone cursing because he turned himself to stone. And it says, turned himself to stone to protect the gods. Did he turn himself to stone to protect the gods from Rain and Heron? Did you do that on purpose? Or did you do that later? I actually wrote holy shit on here when I read that.
So one of I didn't completely know who Rain and Heron were back then.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have personalities for them or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew where they were,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew what they represented.
That's so
The original wedding scene that I wrote at the end of the book, they're in the chapel, and the Alir are represented with little wooden statues around the walls above them. And the original scene that I wrote described, it didn't say who they were, but it described Rain and Heron's figures. And I took it out because it just didn't really belong there. I didn't feel like it needed to be there. It didn't add anything to the scene. And, and at the time I wasn't actually planning that book. But I've mentioned it to you before. I've got a world Bible that I've been working on since the very beginning. which is now about a book and a half's worth of material. You know, you couldn't translate it into a book because it's not narrative, but it's, but I
I
do
don't know.
that.
They did for Tolkien, didn't they? Isn't that what the Salmon, the word I can't say is?
Silmarillion.
Yes.
No, that's more like a history. But
Okay. Okay.
I do that because I have a terrible memory. I mean, and I always have. And so I, you know, learned really early that, you know, paper memory is better. And so, you know, if I need to know what color somebody's eyes are, or what hand is dominant, or where, you know, which leg they got stabbed in, it lives in the
Poor
it lives in
Keen.
the Bible. Yeah. So anyway, but that actually, you know, it's worked out really well. It worked out really well when we did the expanded universe, and I was able to pass on all that information to everybody else, and you know, and it worked really well when, you know, when I started writing in that world, and you know, it was so easy for me to go back and find those things. And I've also got chapter by chapter breakdowns of all the books. So if I need to go look something up in one book or another, that is also very easy for me to do. I don't have to try and guess, you know, which book it was and try to remember something to do a search on, and crap like that. It's all there in that Bible. But there were those two characters were there. They were involved. They just, you know, I didn't have those stories in mind yet, but I did know that thing.
Yeah, I read that and I was like, oh, from the very beginning, he had this plan the whole time.
Well, you know, they give you two different reasons in that book, in just A Good Running Away, that Oldham has turned himself to stone there. He did it to, you know, protect from the other gods, and he did it to protect from Tyrain. And Tyrain's actually technically a little bit more correct, because that's where
that's where it all
Rain
started.
and Heron are at the moment.
Yeah,
we're getting in the weeds here, though.
I know, but that's the fun part. I couldn't believe it, man. I was like, no. It's like going back and watching your favorite show and finding out the person, you know, that one of the, you know, main characters now was actually the side character back then, you know, and you're like, I didn't even remember that kind of thing, you know. It's pretty cool. I love it. Let's see. We have, go ahead.
Wrong series is part of the same world as Misplaced Mercenaries, and yes, it is. It picks up with new characters, but you do get, you know, there's tons of Easter eggs. You don't have to have read one to read the other, but there are characters in common. Yeah, there's Masika. I love her. I love Masika.
So
Masika,
yeah, that's
opposite in nearly every single way.
For sure. But she grew up rich and privileged, right? She didn't grow up on the streets, so it makes sense. All right. So now, because this is book club and we only ask serious questions, I would like to know, which characters would you ship? Do you know what that means? You know what that means? Yeah. Because personally, Sarah and Megan, I think they would make a power couple that would completely take over. Sarah and Megan, I would ship them.
I would ship Keen and Roselle.
Oh, that would be a power couple. She'd really have to like get him under control, but not too much. That's a good choice.
You know, it almost happened anyway.
True.
And you know, but it didn't. And then they both sort of built this whole, you know, reputation on it having happened, when in truth it never did. And they, you know, both from totally different, you know, perspectives, but it worked for both of them. And you know, they have sort of sparks from you know, here and there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good shipping. So while we keep talking, let us know, chat. Let us know if you who you would ship together. Who would you put together that was not put together? Because I have to say, one of the things I like about this series, and you and I have talked about this before, is I like that you have Keen and Sarah as close as two people can possibly be, but they are not romantically involved and no intention of ever. Was there any time when you were writing it that that was something, or creating the series, that that was something you thought about doing, was putting them together romantically?
No, no. That, as a matter of fact, it was um, that that friendship and the fact that it was a friendship
Hmm.
was absolutely central to everything that I wrote from the very beginning. Um, from the first page of the first book to the last page of the fifth. Um, that was that was their relationship. That was what made it special. Um, and it's not like a romance is mundane, but a romance between the two of them would have been. And I didn't want that. I wanted it to be to mean more than that. Um, and so yeah, no, that was always the way they were going to be. Um, Jen Bear asked
Hmm.
how long it took me to write the world. I wrote the enough of the world to get started over about a month. It took me a month from where I sat down and started working my world Bible until I began the first book. But I've never stopped writing that world Bible. I still add to it today. Um, and so that's just but now I'm also adding to it from five other authors. So every time I get one of their books, I go through and I add all kinds of stuff.
Hmm.
um so it continues to be a living document.
Yep. Perfect. Perfect. I love it. I love it. I love it. Always active. Let's see. Jen said that she would ship the Deep Witch and Rain. Oh my gosh, they would hate each other and they probably have the
Yeah,
best sex ever.
yeah, they'd be terrible together.
Oh
I love
yeah.
that.
Can you imagine the storms that would happen with those two together? Oh my gosh. That's a short story waiting to happen. Oh
Oh,
my
so
gosh.
so I will say though that sort of along those lines,
Uh-huh.
the fourth book in the series is not the original fourth book in the series. I had written another book, and for a variety of reasons, which were all very good reasons, Kelly did not want me to put that book in there. But the Deep Witch did have a prolonged romantic relationship in that book. Um, and so at some point, I may rewrite enough of that book and to just maybe like do it as a one-off or something, because it was good. I liked it. It just I basically didn't have I introduced a bunch of new characters and didn't have any of the old characters in it. And so it wasn't, made sense in my head, but it wasn't really a smart idea.
It's a part of
Um,
the series.
yeah, yeah. It was
Which
part of
is
the world, but not part of the series.
correct. Which is ironic though, because when I first met Kevin Pettway, he was reading part of that book. I had him cut, is why I wanted to read his work.
That's right. That's right.
So you never know, writers. Just put yourself out there. You don't know what's going to click and what isn't. So that's funny. Alicia says that she liked how Roselle didn't rat out Keen and Sarah once they'd seen each other again and she worked with them. Yeah, me too. Roselle is, I mean, she's like, key number one player there. I do think it's interesting. No one's asking anything about Finnegal, because I still have some beef with Finnegal because I adore him in this first book. That's all I'm going to say. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's got that he's got that warm smile and the smile lines in his eyes, and he's out there, he's looking out for our heroes.
Right? And he's smart, he's quick, and he knows what's going on, and I like that in characters. I like the secret of we don't know who they are until we find out who they are. Anyways, I like the secret that we don't know who they are. Oh my gosh. It was, Lena. It was a very pretty fat red editing pen on book 4. It was really big.
More like a big fat red editing arrow that shot right through it.
And then you unironically wrote my favorite book. So I regret nothing. I regret nothing.
No, like I said, you were right. But also, yeah, that book 4, the book 4 that is in the series. If I could only read one, that would be the one that I wanted. Every book that I read is my favorite when I'm reading it. But when I'm not reading any of them, that's the one that I think of as being my favorite.
Yeah, I freaking love book 4.
Although I got to say that the back half of book 5 is probably the closest to my heart.
Well, talk about, we are all readers in here. So we all like read a series and then it ends and we're like mad at the ending because something it disappoints or it doesn't quite go where we thought it was going to go which is okay as long as it's satisfying, right? Or we're not satisfied with it, or we're like there's so many things that happen at the end of the series. This series, y'all are in for a treat. This one hits. It hits and it hits really well. That's why another reason why I decided we should do this one first, because this one is not one of those where you're like, really? How many times we're like, book 1's great. Book 2 was okay. Book 3, what? No, not this one. Go through book 5 and the excitement continues. Kiddos, we haven't got to the kiddos yet, Jen. We're only on book 1. Let's see. Yeah, and Charles also likes.
They were a lot of fun to write too.
Yeah. Alicia says that she liked Finnegal in this book, but he is sneaky, and that was interesting to see him in the end. Oh yeah, he's sneaky. He's sneaky, all right. And it's really cool because this is a sword and sorcery book, but there was a lot more sword than sorcery in this book, right? So when Finnegal's like, hey, you're a sorcerer too, then you're like, oh, there shall be more magic. So it's very cool. I like this because the book is very light on magic. I think that is more realistic. So it works for me. Otherwise, magic just powers everything, unless it's fireball, and then it never hits anything.
I feel like that gives people an easier jumping on point. If you work up to the magic, then it never overpowers your suspension of disbelief. But if you start there, then it can be hard to get in. It creates sort of a mental barrier. So I like doing it this way better, where it starts out kind of low key and you work up to that.
Excellent. I love it. Yeah, Jen says, well, I guess we haven't gotten to Rain yet either because we didn't get to the kids. It's like, yes, but Rain's a totally different series. So,
Yeah.
It's different. And just like Kevin said earlier, with all of these series in this universe, you don't have to read any series to understand the other one. But obviously, if you start with this first one and read it through, you'll have a better understanding of the world before you branch out and explore it more. So,
Yeah.
Yep. Don't have to, but it's nice. It's nice.
And I really like the directions that all of the other writers took things in that I never would have considered. I never would have thought of. And that makes me really happy when I read those. And it's a lot of fun for me. Yeah, I get asked a lot, how did it produce anxiety for me to hand over my baby to these other writers? And it was completely the opposite. I couldn't wait to see what they were going to do, and they did not disappoint. It was very exciting.
For sure.
Okay, so Alicia's got a Keen quote.
Yeah, so we have 5 minutes left. That's what we should get to, is the King quote. So perfect.
Okay.
Go ahead, you read it.
You want me to read mine?
You can read Alicia's first.
Okay. Well, she was. Let's see. Was the ghost owl in the armpit quote, which is it was kind of out there. It was very alliterative of Keen to say something like that, and Sarah calls him on it. Throughout the entire book, he's giving these, really sort of outrageous and very, very dirty comments, and then he says the ghost owl in the armpit one, and Sarah's like, what? which
Yeah, like, what are you saying? Yeah, I have favorite. Let's see, I tagged it in the book. I have two. I do always remember Greg's. Do you remember Greg's favorite?
Greg's favorite. I remember.
I always remember Greg's. Greg's is in when they're in the carriage.
That's Williams.
Oh, is that William's favorite? Oh, you're right. It is William's favorite. Sorry. That's right. It's William's favorite. Do you want to tell William's favorite?
Let's see. Yeah, Keen is giving excuses to the guard as to why he doesn't want to give up the carriage, and he said that he had it given to him as a child, and that he had his very first sexual experience in it. His grandmother died in it, and then he stops and he says those last two were not related.
It's just so funny. I love that quote. That is a great quote. And I have a couple on here.
That likes Oldham's cross-eyed testicles, which is one of my favorites too.
Yes. It's like, that's when you're like, when you stop to go, wait, what? It's one of those laughing out loud. Considering so many horrible things happen, you need the laughing out loud. I'm going to pull one from the ending. I like the one at the end where Sarah and Finnegal are trying to explain to Keen what's going on. And he's just woken up, right? And he goes, I really hope the news isn't that I've woken up in the land of cryptic talkers, because that crap would get thin really quick. I love that line. There's not even any cursing in it. And that is a great line.
Yeah, how weird is that? Who knew I could be funny without cussing?
I mean, I didn't, but apparently.
So my favorite was, let's see, Keen and Sarah have just been foiled from escaping the castle for like the 5th or 6th time by a pack of clowns in the street that attack them on sight. And this all happens off camera. You don't see this happening. Mm-hmm. And the next chapter starts with Keen saying, if I had an ox's asshole for every way that went wrong, I could put every brothel in this fucking city out of business overnight. And I read that and it made me laugh, after not having read the book for years, but I read it again and I was chortling in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that one was funny. I did do a second one too. The second one was the one where he goes, fault be chopped up like a chicken in an asshole made of axe heads, right? And then even Sarah's like, wait, an asshole made of axe heads? What is wrong with you? Even for Sarah, she was like, that's too far.
I conflated that one with the ghost owl armpit thing. Yeah, that one where Sarah calls him on it.
Yep. She's like, what is wrong with you? Oh, I love that one. I love it. All right. So we are just about out of time. I had a great time talking with you guys. Nina said, and it's quotes like this that make everyone jealous of me. I know. I'm sorry.
All the time.
Lena wins the best quote. That's it. That's the one. 365 days a year, ladies. For those of you who do not know, Lena and Kevin are married. So, yeah, that's Alicia. I also like the magic shackles on his personality. Sarah DeKeen from Jen. Do you think you can keep from making anyone else want to kill you for a few hours? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, they
Please.
talk about that a lot.
He would be dead so many times. There was a couple times too where he's like, if only I could quit talking, but I can't. He just kept going. I know I'm getting myself in more shit, but I can't stop it. Yes, Alicia. Yes, well, quick, I'm gonna win. I want to pick the winner. I have 7 people, and so I'm just going to use a random number generator. Can you see that? You can. All right, and let's just see who wins. These are the 7 who said something in chat. Number 7. That is Christina. Christina, you won.
Yay,
Good
Christina.
thing you came in late. Look at that. All right, so Christina won. So Christina, well, you know how to get a hold of me, so we will get a hold of each other so I can get your address so I can send you this stuff. Like I said, I won't need it till after Dragon Con because I'm going to get this signed by Jody Lynn Nye and Kevin G. Anderson as well. So you will
And
have lots of signatures.
Fun fact about Christina that you may not know. Christina is my favorite person in this chat named Christina who won a book.
Look at that. I mean, you're just full of all this information. Also, Lena, I get it now. Yeah, I get what you're saying. So as Alicia said, can't wait for book 2. This is book 2. Blow out the candle when you leave. And yes, it's purple. It's my favorite color. Isn't that pretty? It's all shiny on the thing. So again, you can get this same place you got book 1. You can get the paperback anywhere you would like to get the paperback. You can order it from your local indie store. You can order it from Barnes & Noble. Of course, you can get it off of Amazon as well. And it is on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have that and you'd rather read it that way, you can do that as well. So this will be our next book and our meeting because we are sticking with the 3rd Fridays of the month. So the next meeting will be September 26th. So September 26th at 8 p.m. And please let us know what you think of this. If there's anything you would like us to do different, if there's anything you'd like us to add or not do so much of, please let us know. Because we are here as a club together. So let us know what you want out of your club, and we'll make sure to do that. Do you have any last words, Kevin?
Only that I had a wonderful time. I need not have worried about my very first book club ever.
It was all good. And there were no technical glitches at the beginning. It was great.
Yeah, no, you won't be able to prove that by the time the editing's done.
That's right. You never know. Where'd the light go? I don't know. Look at this pretty edited video.
Yes, Alicia, 9 o'clock Eastern.
Yes. Yep. 9 o'clock Eastern. Yay. So glad y'all had fun. Thanks, Charles. Thanks, Alicia. Thanks, Christina and Kiana. So glad you are here. Now, that's right. Now Christina's a double winner. All right. So I will tell you, though, you're going to be a triple winner because Kevin Pettway also made a really cool closing. So I'm going to hit the closing button and we will see y'all soon.
Bye, everybody.